Hey, what's up, y'all? Daquan here, and in this video, I want to give you some general aux keys tips that can work in any musical setting. The top board, we have the Roland Jupiter 8000. You know, it's a JP 8000, but it's a Jupiter, right? And then on the bottom, we have the Jupiter 80. We're going to be in the key of A major, right? Right? So on top, I have this super saw. And then on the bottom, I have a synth sound called detuned squares. I want to show you guys like how and when to play. The progression we're going to work on is 3, 4, 6, 5. Here's what it sounds like. Right? That's straightforward. So my left hand is C sharp, D, F sharp, E, right? And my right hand is playing the third of those chords. So I'm E, F sharp, A, G sharp. So, and I put them together. When you're playing this dance track or these dance style of music, right? That's how you want to play it. You want to play it as tenths more than third. So it's not played like this. It's a subtle color change, but it matters. So, right? So that's the progression. So one of the first things you can do, as an aux player to add something to the track, I guess, is to mimic the bass player. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a bass sound on the bottom board. Right? Now, your bass player got to play the line, though. Like, your bass player can't be, like, shedding. They got to lock in. All right, so something like this. Say the first time around in the verse where the progression is, like, just bass and maybe kick. So... right? One more time. Here we go. Right? It's super simple. Like, I'm just playing what the bass player is playing, but I'm playing it later in the verse. So it's a lift in the song, but it's not a level 10 lift where I'm just shedding like, I'm not doing that with what I see a lot of aux players doing on social media, right? Which is fine. But if you're doing that in the first 30 seconds of the tune, you have nowhere to go later. So like, this is like, just a level 2 lift in the track, right? So let's go back. Let's do it one more time. So 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Now, let's say there's another thing happen. Let's say, the bass player is keeping that bass line going on, right? You want to think opposite, right? So, for example, boom, doom, boom, doom, 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 boom, boom. Let's add the keys. So right? Say if your main player is doing this. A lot of aux players will play the same thing rhythmically as the main player. So 1, 2, 3, and... Trying to talk and play at the same time, so forgive me. You see how like the keys got lost in the mix a little bit. So say for example, on the top of the verse, 1, 2, 3, right? So now you see how the keyboard players the main players holding down the chords, right? And then I'm playing a little higher as the main keyboard player. So I'm allowing, like, I'm paying attention to where I'm playing on the aux player, like in the aux range. So I'm not overshadowing the main player, but you can hear all the parts, right? So you want to pay attention to where you're playing and playing something that complements the other. So opposites attract is what I'm trying to say. So consider that bass line. Doom, 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 doom. Now imagine if the keys is playing, right? That bass line. So the keys is playing the chords and then the bass player is going in. Right? Add a new sound. Boom, 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 doom, doom, boom, doom, doom, doom. Right? Right. You see how the layer is building up. So now, let's say the chorus is in, right? What can and imagine the bass player is playing, the keyboard is playing that piano line. Another thing aux players do is everybody plays on the one, right? So something like this. So like 1, 2, 3, doom, 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 boom, doom, doom. Like everybody's playing the downbeat. So if someone can play something like later in the bar, it sounds like a call and response, like a conversation is happening musically, and it creates a more 3D sound. So I'm gonna show you. So we're gonna have this aux sound right here. The squares. Let me turn that effect off. The delay. All right, here we go. So what I'm gonna do as the aux, I'm gonna play the same thing, right, as everybody, as the main rhythm of the song. So 1, 2, 3, and like that's cool. But imagine if the whole band, if you got the bass player doing that, the main keys doing that, the guitar player doing that, and then the aux player doing that. It's like everybody's doing do 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 boo 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 boom. It's gonna sound loud, but it's not gonna sound full. It's not gonna sound 3D. So what you should do as an aux player is play after the one, right? And that'll also change up your lines, and you're kind of thinking of a call and response kind of thing. So something like this, maybe 1, 2, 3, and right? You know what I'm saying? I'm messing up crazy, but you notice how it opened up like the sonics a little bit. It sounds like a musical conversation, right? So that's something to consider, right? You know, if the lead is establishing the progression on the downbeat on the 1, you have beats 2, 3, and 4 to play something that complements what was played on the 1 on the downbeat, right? Not the 1, not the number system 1, the 1 rhythmically, right? So something else that you can do as an aux player, and this requires you to learn your keyboard. Um, let me switch up my sounds a little bit. So I'm gonna take this top sound and bring it to the bottom, right? What you can start to do is mess around with like effects. So what I like to do with my aux is like adjust the pitch. So like I'm messing with the settings. I have the envelope depth in the oscillator section. And you can probably find this in your track, in your keyboard. It's a riser type effect. So like 1, 2, 3. And what I did was, usually in the oscillator section, there's 2. You have the attack and the decay. So I turn the depth knob to the left halfway, right, and then I bring the decay up halfway, and it's gonna rise. So like you can make it like take forever to rise. And if you mess with the knob, you can control the time. Right? It's cool. You can do it in reverse. So let's recap on what we've talked about. So one of the easiest things you can do as an aux player is mimic the bass line. That creates like a subtle lift in the music, but that's not like super crazy, right? Think opposites. So if your main player is holding down straight chords, you want to do something that's rhythmic. As far as making the sound more 3D, let your main instruments play on the downbeat, on the 1, on the first part of the measure. And you as the color, as the auxiliary, as the candy, the ear candy, you play on the other beats, right? So if the progression is on the 1, like, and say if it's a 4 chord, doom, 3, 4, you got all that time to create a counter melody that's in context to what was played. If you can think parts, you're going to be successful as an aux player. If you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you want to take this concept a step further, consider joining DB Music Academy, my online platform, helping musicians just like you take your plan to the next level, helping you create your own sound in less time, all that good stuff. All right. So the link's in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.